Good work from the big quick Josh Hazelwood.
Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za, and welcome to the semi-final betting build-up. We are, of course, talking about the Rugby World Cup Semi-Finals, and I've got the man himself, Oracle Rugby, with me, and we'll cross to him now. I know you might see the Oracle's looking a bit distracted. There his eyes glance up, and I know what he's looking at. He's looking at the TV screen because he's got a bet on Pakistan. He's got some nice prices on Pakistan to beat Australia. Gav, welcome to the show, and it's fair to say that while we're talking rugby, we'll no doubt be having a chat or two about the cricket as well.
I'm pretty sure, Brent, that the guys are watching this show on their phone and they've got the cricket on the TV, because this is one of the most exciting games that we've had in the tournament. I mean, Australia losing those first two games against us and the host India, and then I'm not going to say scrape time against, can't remember who they played in their third game, but winning that third game, Sri Lanka, that's right. Sri Lanka are just absolute rubbish at the moment. It takes away from our win that we had over them. And here you got Pakistan who, as you know, can go either way of a coin toss in a cricket match. But you know what? I went for Pakistan today. They were 16-10, I think, before the game started, or 17-10. And at the break, after watching Australia, what looked like they were going to get 400 plus, struggled to get 367. And here we are sitting at 99 off 68 with 6 wickets in hand. Pakistan should be favourites. I can't believe it. They were 6-1 at the break. So yeah, took a bit of 6-1, took a bit of 3-1 earlier. So yes, I'm involved in this cricket game, but that won't detract from my conversation about the rugby. So yeah, let's forge ahead. We've seen all the memes. I chucked in a couple at the office over the week saying that Ireland and France will meet in the 5th place playoff at Charles de Gaulle Terminal 3. And, we've also seen the other one saying Ireland and New Zealand can still go to the final. They're just got to buy a ticket. So, yeah, these guys are quite clever. They get out there very early and come up with some funny stuff. So, yeah, it's been an interesting tournament. I watched the breakdown show. I don't know if you did. They were sitting outside with those croissants on their plate for about 45 minutes. The New Zealanders seem to think that, that they're going to win this tournament. I just can't see it. I think Russie's a clever oak. Unfortunately, I don't get the crate of beer. I would have been delighted to send it to you if Ireland had won. No, Mark. I took a bet with you. Here's a 5th wicket, I see. All right. So there's 5 down now. Iftikhar, the one who was hitting the 6s, he's gone. But don't worry. They'll come back. Pakistan will win. It's 99 off 67 with 5 in hand. And Rizwan, who is the form player of the Pakistan outfit at the crease, I'm not concerned. I think I've got a lot of value here, and I'm very happy. I just think the world seems to think that we cheated our way into that final. Somebody did point out, I shared it on the WhatsApp group. There was an article on the Raw, and Harry will know because he's one of the editors over there. The guy had pointed out that game in 2007 was refed. The France-England game was refed by the English guy. I forget his name now, but the referee,
Wayne Barnes.
the blondie. Yes, Wayne Barnes. So he was the referee in 2007. Apparently, made a big mistake that got New Zealand out.
I remember it well. I was on South Africa to win the tournament that year, so I was delighted. But it was basically a blatant forward pass that never got picked up, and at the end of the day, probably cost the All Blacks the game. But it was a strange game. I remember that when the All Blacks actually went well clear and looked like everything was going according to plan, and suddenly the French started coming back, and that actually probably leads us into this weekend's games fairly nicely, Gab, because it is one of those things. On the face of it, it should be 2 comfortable victories, you'd think, for New Zealand and South Africa. But we've all seen rugby games, and I think back to England and Fiji last week, we've seen games turn where one side appears to be in control, and then something small happens in the game. Maybe even like France against South Africa, they never took their chances against us. And then all of a sudden, you feel that momentum shift. And suddenly, there was a time last week where I thought Fiji were going to beat England. They sort of came back at them at so strong. And so, although we've got big handicaps here, we can't take anything for granted. And let me lead you in as well by saying, well done last week. If Fiji had beaten England, you would have gone 4-4. You would have had a 40-1 multiple. You won all the you were the anti-Clive Woodward last week. You won all the Southern Hemisphere teams. So you bring in some decent form into the semi-finals.
Yeah, so Brent, it's interesting you're pointing out that 40-1. So I just put 200 Rand on. So it was 8,200. But we've got a standing argument in the household here where my wife used to say to me, "So you lost?" And I'd say to her, "What do you mean?" She says she would have said, in this case, I'm saying she would have, because she has changed her mind. She would have said, "Well, you lost, your bet lost. So you lost 200 Rand." And I've been telling people for years, not winning 8,000 Rand in this example compared to losing 200 Rand they're not in the same race. When you get that close, it's like having a 50-1 shot, not even. It's having a 16-1 shot in a horse race where you got 5,300 and it loses by half a head. You haven't lost 300 Rand. You've not won 5,000. And it's a different feeling, and especially for winners. When winners will feel that way. Losers might feel, I've lost 300 Rand or I've lost 200 Rand. For me, it's about not winning 8,000 Rand is far worse than losing 200 Rand. Anyway, I don't think this is a shoe-in for both teams, and I'm going to tell you what I think here. I think in this New Zealand game, they're playing a team that's badly coached, and I'm going to go back to what Henrik's been telling us and drumming down our heads for 3 years. They're badly coached. They were up against a team last weekend, which I mentioned in the show, that had mental issues. They'd been to the quarterfinals 8 out of 8 times. They haven't gone past it. It's a block. South Africa haven't been to a final in the Cricket World Cup, but yet I backed them to win this tournament because, you do that. And all the Irish would have backed Ireland. They were the number one team. They'd gone into that. They were on the precipice of getting the joining England and New Zealand at the record wins in a row. There were a lot of mental aspects to that particular game, and New Zealand just had to play a decent game of rugby, and that's what they did, and they won the game. They stood quite firm at the end, but it was 4, so Ireland had to score a try. They couldn't just take a kick at the end, so I'm not going to buy this. Could have been a penalty or whatever. I'm not interested in that. I wasn't surprised Ireland didn't win last week, rather than saying they lost. So I'm not going to read too much into New Zealand being a great team. We saw France punish them. We saw South Africa punish them. Argentina have beaten this team twice in the last 3 years. Argentina are going to come into this game saying, we've done this before. We can do it again. Let's go. They've got nothing to lose. They've never been to a final before. They've been to a semi-final. Obviously, they played us in 2007. They've got a chance. It's a team that's improved. So you know what? I'm going to tell you that when I heard it was plus 17, and I believe it could be even 18 or 19 now, that's way too high. I'm going to say that's 2 tries too high. For me, this game is close. If New Zealand win, I say it's under 10, and Argentina can definitely win this game. So I'm going to take them on the board. I'm not going to spend too much money, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the bets I took before the tournament was South Africa first, Argentina second, 10,000 to 150, 66-1. Thought it was huge value because I looked at the what do you call it, the template or the grid or the draw, whatever it is. I looked at the draw to see what would happen. And interestingly, when South Africa lost the game when Argentina lost the game against England, I thought I was out with that bet. And then, of course, South Africa lost, and also they switched over. So it brought me back into the bet, which I was technically out of. So, I like Argentina's chances here. I think, they're 7 or 8 to 1 to win the game. They can win. Of course they can win.
Just looked on Boyles now, Gab. 23-2 to win the game.
23-2. So that's 11. There you go. It's more than 10 to 1, 11.5 or 10.5 to 1. Yeah, that's huge value about a team that can win the game. And then I'm going to switch to the other game and tell you, Brent, the other game's handicap is lower, but I'm going to tell you England got no chance. No chance. This is not bias South Africa here. This is not bias Oracle, whatever. Yeah, I've got a lot to come on South Africa if they win the tournament. But this English team have come out of a very bad group. They were lucky to beat Argentina. They got the red card. They got a couple of drop goals. That's not going to happen with South Africa. Russie is an absolute magician. I'll be surprised if England actually lose this game by less than 25. For me, this is 30 plus. This could be an absolute nightmare for them. This could be 40-0. I mean, I just there's nothing in this England team that suggests they'll even score points, let alone come close to us. This is race over, and that's a bigger price than the New Zealand one. I'd be hell of a scared sticking 30, 40, 50 grand trying to steal money on the New Zealand game, when the reality is they're going to get double the money or even treble the money for the same amount on South Africa. South Africa is shoe in here. New Zealand, not so much. That's how I see these two games.
Right, interesting. I'll see a scene coming in, scene Bo coming in. England got no chance, but Argentina can win. So he's very much singing off the hymn sheet there, Gav.
100%. I agree. That's exactly how I see it.
Interesting. Yeah, I must say, I've looked at this. I'll throw a couple of bets that I've taken or that I'm taking on these games and see what you think. So jumping to the Argentina-New Zealand game, and you're probably not going to like this one, but I like New Zealand off to quite a fast start. I'm not necessarily saying they beat the handicap, but I've taken New Zealand minus 7.5 halftime, because I just feel that New Zealand are the sort of side that starts strong. And if Argentina are going to contend in this game, what I can see happening is New Zealand get out in front, a bit like Wales did last week, and then Argentina basically clawed back. What do you think of that bet?
Yes, New Zealand can get off to a great start. Of course they can. And we've seen Argentina come back. Yeah, no, I can see they suspended. I was trying to see what the overcount was. 40, 40.4.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And I think
this one hasn't updated.
They are reviewing the decision, so I'll let you know what happens there. But yeah, so
that's all right.
That's how I see it. What do you think of the halftime? I mean, I'm not normally a halftime handicap player, but I couldn't find anything I really fancied strong in this game.
Yeah, I've heard you telling us that you're not this halftime player, but I've got to believe that you actually are.
Because I'm taking a lot of them.
Well, they're reviewing. You can tell me if it went all right. They can still win this game with 4 down, eh? Really. They need 94-56. It's not impossible. I think they've got a huge chance here.
Yeah, I think it's looking great.
Yeah, Brent, New Zealand, the thing with Argentina is New Zealand can start off well. They can go 15-0 up. They can go 20-0 up. But Argentina are not dead and buried, because this is a final for them. They haven't been to a final. This is their biggest game. And I promise you, well, I'm not going to say I promise you. You will remember in 2007 when Argentina got into the semi-final with us. They moved the River Plate. I can't remember who they were playing. It was a big derby in Argentina. They moved the game by 3 hours because Argentina were in the Rugby World Cup Semi-Final. So, this is a country. This is the peak of what they've got. You ask any of these Fijis, Italy's, even Scotland in today's times, getting to a semi-final. It's massive. The country will, the supporters will watch. So Argentina, absolutely, they can win this game. And will they do it in the second half or the first? I'd be scared to take your bet, but I do understand why you do it. And you're not bad at your first half. From memory, you're definitely up on your first half bets. You must be.
I'm improving. I was definitely down in the past. I've improved a bit now.
I think you're trying to remember your 2005 to 2009 period where you were probably bad, but you've come back.
Yeah, I've come back a bit. And let me go then on to the South African game. So I'm like you. I think South Africa, I'm maybe not as bullish as you, but I do think that South Africa will ultimately win this game fairly comfortably. But the bet I've taken on this one, Gav, is any successful drop goal at 7-2. What do you think of that?
I'm going to tell you it's an absolute no-brainer because is Ford playing?
No, he's coming off the bench, but let's face it, you might get a drop goal early, but normally the drop goals come in the last quarter anyway. And Farrell got a drop goal last week, and South Africa attempted a drop goal through Colby, and they were going to attempt a drop goal through Pollard, but the pass that, when it went into the French player. So the problem with the drop goal bet, of course, is you need it to be successful, and drop goals are not easy. So, but at 7-2, I think it's a great price for a match like this, and I've had quite a big play on it.
I agree, Brent, but I got to tell you in this game, because I'm expecting them to get thumped, it's going to have to happen in the first 15 minutes because it's not going to happen at the end. South Africa are taking drop goals when they're 30-0 up, and England are not taking them when they're 30-0 down.
And I guess that's why you get the price of 7-2, because it does depend how the game pans out. I mean, the drop goal, you generally want a close game. With the very least, South Africa leading by 12, take a drop to go 15 ahead. That type of thing. But like you say, if they're leading 30 points to 3, then they're not going to be taking drop goals. And sure as hell, the English aren't going to be taking drop goals either. But I see this as a bit of a dogfight. I know you're not a big points punter, but I can tell you the weather not good in Paris. So we may well see, a scrappy game there.
Okay, but this is both teams, right? Both teams are playing at this. Both games are at the.
Yeah, both teams, but
same stadium.
I think the weather's worse for the South Africa game, from what I gathered. Although I did have some. Glenn came on our show earlier and said there's been rain all week there. So just to mention that, I also just want to bring up, Gav, a couple of the other bets guys are coming up with. Kamal saying over 4.5 successful penalties. That's in tonight's game. That's quite a nice bet as well, because I do think that certainly Argentina are going to bang for posts, and even New Zealand in the early stages.
Again, that bet is, I'm going to say, 100% dependent on the lead at the time, because a team goes 14-0 up, no one's taking penalties. They go 21-0 up, they're not taking penalties. But you're right. If Argentina get off to a small lead, then of course New Zealand will take a penalty or two, and vice versa. So yes, if the score is under 10, then if the margin is under 10, then penalties are runners. Whether there'll be 5 or not, I don't know. I suppose a couple for each team. I don't know. Yeah, it's not something I would take, but I do understand it.
So let me ask the guys in the live chat what their thoughts are as well, because you mentioned Bafeli taking the points there, Kamal. So at the start of the tournament, I took 4-1, which was obviously a very good price with you guys, Gav, relative to everyone else. I know your theory on the fact that the bookmakers mug the punters in those markets, and I agree with you. But I took a bet on a Ramos top point scorer at 4-1. Now he's currently about 23 points, I think, ahead of Bafeli. Now Bafeli's got 2 games left. So if he scores quite a few tonight, he might get back into the mix there. Now I could close out. I had 1,000 on to win 4,000. I could close out for a 2,500 profit now, with Bafeli the only realistic runner against him. Gav, let me ask you first, and Kamal could come in as well. Would you close out in my situation, or let it ride and try and take the maximum?
Yeah, I think he's going to. I think he's going to get caught, Brent, and it's not just Bafeli that's in this race. Andre Pollard could beat it. Excuse me. I could come on and score 4 tries and kick 30 points. I mean, I'm obviously joking.
Pollard, I'm going to tell you, Pollard won't beat. But it's realistically, it is really. I mean, Damien McKenzie's up there, but the chances of him getting, obviously, if New Zealand get beaten by Argentina, he could become a factor. But he's not going to get
also Bafeli might not play that. If they get into the 3rd and 4th, he might not even play in that game. So, there is a bit of a risk of that.
Fair enough. But are you a closeout? I mean, I don't generally close out bets, but I'll give you an example. Early in the tournament, I took 12-1 New Zealand a month before the tour thing started. I stuck a couple of grand on. I had the opportunity after they lost. I think they lost to Fiji. I could cash out for like a 400 rand loss or something, and I grabbed it absolutely with both hands. So there's a time when I will take. And I must admit, I'm tempted in this case because I am a bit worried about Bafeli taking penalties and sort of then, if he gets 12, 15 points, my opportunity's gone. Suddenly it's even money the pair or 9-10 the pair.
Yeah, look, I met South Africa's best horse racing punter a few years ago, and I said to him, "Why doesn't he lay the favourites on Betfair when he punts a horse 20, if he likes a 20-1 shot, why doesn't he lay the favorite?" And he said to me, "You just get into trouble like that. Rather find the horses that can beat the favorite." And again, not winning at 20-1 is better than completely different to losing. So the concept here is, instead of closing the bet out, because what you're effectively doing when you take a closeout, you are taking that no one else can win. So in other words, you're punting everybody else now. Because you're saying your guy can't win. You're now punting everybody else instead of finding the 2 or 3 guys that can beat him. So by rather backing the 2 or 3 guys that you think can win with the money that you would have, the difference between your closeout or your cash out and your potential profit is the right way to go here. So rather go and stick some money on Buffelli instead of closing the bet out.
I thought of that because, for example, if I took 2.5 profit and I could have made 5, I've got 1,500 that I'm giving up. I could have put that on Buffelli at, I think he was around about the 4-1 mark or so. So then it would have. The only thing is, the one thing you've often got to remember in these situations is like what you said earlier. Are there other challenges or whatever? Like out of the blue, New Zealand get dumped out, and Damien McKenzie scores 20 points in the third place playoff. So there's always that little bit building. But look, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm a kind of guy. Kamal says hedging is for gardeners, Brent. I'm no gardener. I can tell you that right now. So I'm going to be hanging on to my bet. But I just thought it'd be a bit of an interesting discussion.
I agree with Kamal, but I'm not against. I'm generally against cash outs. And we had when I was at Hollywood, we had a conversation in the office. There was a guy who was standing to win 1.2 million on a multiple of 16 legs, and he cashed out for 600,000. And the Ikes in the office said that was a great idea. And I said, you know what? If you wanted to win 600,000, why didn't you take a bet to win 600,000? What were you trying to do taking a bet to win 1.4 million? I know that he doesn't know which leg's not going to win, but that's not really the point. The point is I am a part hedger. So, if I've backed, let's take Argentina as an example here. Let's say you backed Argentina at 40-1 to win the tournament. I'm just going to use a round number. And you got 250 odds. You got 10 grand to come. They win the game on tonight. Now they're playing South Africa in the final. Now they 2-1. 1, 2, 3, 2-1, whatever. Now, do you go and stick any money on the 1, 2, 3? I say yes, you probably do. You could probably go and put 3 grand on to get 1,000 rand back. 1,000 to 3,000 South Africa in that example. You've you've only spent 250 rand. Why not? One is it's a weekend away, and the other one's a dinner out. The point is you got the bet right. You can sit there and say, I'm going to win 10 grand on Argentina, and then they get beaten by 25, and you go, well, I should have taken something. So I'm an advocate for partial cash out. In other words, manually done yourself with your own money, because when you press the cash out button, the whole bet disappears, and you pay a premium on that. You pay a premium, Brent. So a lot of these firms are charging as much as 15% for that. So instead of getting your 5 grand that you were going to get, did you just look up for the 6 I saw appear on the screen? I haven't seen it yet. It appears in about 3 minutes on my TV.
I looked up. I think it's too little late, but let's see.
No, it's not over yet, eh? No, don't worry about that. This game's still alive. They only need 60. What do they need? 80, sorry. Yeah, they need 81 or 44. It's not impossible. We've seen it at RPL lots of times. And also the Australians have got an over problem. They short in time of the overs. They're going to end up with an extra fielder inside the circle. This game's not over yet.
So what's the punishment for that? Do they have to bring
the extra person comes into the circle?
Okay.
Yeah, so it goes back to the same first six overs rules. Yeah, I'm saying that the right way to cash this out. Kamal's right. So let's start with that. Kamal's right. For me, if you want to do this properly, rather back the people or the other option that is more likely, in your opinion, to arrive, and do it with your own cash. Don't hit the cash out button, because the cash out button costs you money, and it's full cash out. You can't get out of that. So you're paying a premium on the full amount that you probably wouldn't have wanted to cash out in the first place. And one day, some tech genius wizard will come up with partial cash out at different charges and offer it. And it also depends on what it is. I've had guys, even myself. You take a 6-leg multiple in horse racing, all to place at ridiculous prices. I had one the other day, 25,000 to 27 rand. First 4 legs arrived. The 5th one came 5th. They had it come 4th. I'm standing to win 25 grand. What do I do? I suppose I've got to back a couple other horses to win the race. I've only spent 27 rand. So again, losing 27 rand is not the same as winning 25 grand. So cash out, I think people have to do it on their own. They've got to think about it. And another discussion I had in the office the other day is, who teaches you how to bet? And I've made this comment to you, should I say, in many conversations. Your wallet is the ultimate teacher of how you're betting. Your wallet will scream at you like you won't listen to anyone else. You'll listen to your wallet. Let's put it that way. And once you've cashed out a bet to win, if the bet was let's take that guy with a 1.4 million. He cashes out at 600,000, whatever the number was, and the team goes on to win. He's lost 800 grand. He's a moron in anyone's opinion. But if if the team loses, then he's a king because he spent $500 or $200 on his bet. So you're flipping a coin to what do you do? In that case, you rather go back to the other team, go borrow 10 grand, stick it on, you get yourself 20,000 rand or whatever it is, or 15,000 rand. And if the multiple wins, you get your 1.4 million and you're happy. And if it doesn't, so what? You've got yourself 15 or 20 grand. Done. That's how I
tell
would
me, in
deal
that
with it.
particular scenario, that one you were describing to us now, would the guy have won if he had held on, or did he make the right call to?
Yes, the team won. Team won. He would have got 1.4 million. He was an idiot. Super moron.
Having said that, yeah, and I think another thing that plays a role is how much. So if you take it, like in my case, 4,000 to 1,000. Yeah, I'd like the 4, but it's not life-changing money, if I can put it that way. But if I was sitting on a bet where I could win 400,000, I think I might well consider taking the 250, or like doing what you say, back, trying to hedge my way around. And I do. I'm actually exactly like you, Gav. I do partial hedging, I guess you'd call it as well. But yeah, it's not often that the Australia one, I can tell you, I don't know how the bookie in question had that price because they were already gone 30 to 1 in the tournament, and I backed them at 12. So to me, there was probably some sort of pricing error there, but I got a chance to close out and I grabbed it. And yeah, so I suppose it just all depends on the time. But what are your plans for the night? You're going to watch the game at home?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, no, I'm 52 years old, Brent. I don't go to nightclubs and busy pubs anymore. I watched the World Cup final soccer in December or the end of November, whatever it was. Watched that in the pub. Way too busy. I just want to fight each other. They've had too much to drink. Remember, half the pub is on one team and the other half's on the other. I mean, imagine going to a pub and watching the final next week. South Africa win, it's going to be chaos. Ike's will, get bottles broken over their heads. And then if they lose, it's going to be worse. There'll be, 3 people with bottles over their heads. So, I'm happy to be at home. It's my remote control. It's my fridge. It's my beer. It's my toilet. I'm in control. I'm very happy. I do generally have a few people around. I don't have anyone around tonight, but I'm very happy at home. Thank you.
Yeah, we're having some people around tomorrow night, but tonight as well, I'm just staying at home. Just going to be watching. I probably won't get too worked up on tonight's game, but tomorrow night definitely I'll be shouting the box home and having a few people around. So, lacquer, man. Well, Gav, anything else to add before we knock off for the night? I can tell you, your Pakistanis are looking like long shots, 76 or 37 with 2 wickets in hand.
Still alive.
Still kicking. The Oracle never say die.
The reality is that this game was Pakistan's to lose, and they're losing it at the moment. So I don't mind. I got involved in big prices, and I'll even include the 17 or 10 before the game. I thought that was a decent price at the time. And they went into, at one point a little bit earlier, they were 9 to 10 a pair. I could have, in that case, Cahal, if you're still watching, I could have taken 9 to 10 Australian. I chose not to. So I would have shown a big profit if I did that. Took the 6 to 1 at the break, and I was happy with it at the time. But that's how it goes, and you don't go and stick houses on 6 to 1 shots. So I'm not in any trouble. Done nicely today. Got the pick 6 in Fairview. Didn't win much. It was a couple of $100. I had about 15% of it or whatever it was. But just life goes on. It doesn't matter. It's easy. For the weekend, wow, just South Africa should win this cricket match after that diabolical attempt with the Netherlands. So South Africa should do the double over England. Well, should do the double. The cricket is the issue. If Quinton de Kock doesn't stuff around and do sweep shots that pop up to the keeper's hands, I mean, Ike didn't even have to move to take that catch. I backed him at 16 to 1 to be top run scorer. He can probably get bigger than that after today's games because some of these guys got a lot of runs. Rizwan is one of the guys. I haven't seen the list at the moment, but I'm a believer. So we can get to the final and win the tournament. I took the double. South Africa in both tournaments at 30 to 1 last week, and 25 to 1 as well somewhere else. Small money, but you never know. yeah, I'm gonna watch the cricket game, the Southern game. Obviously, be involved in Turfentine and Durbanville tomorrow, and South Africa. I will take the big handicaps, the -25s, -30s if I can find them. Haven't taken the bet yet because I do believe that the English punters will punt that price in for us. We'll even get a better price tomorrow than if we to wait rather, because the power of the English pound is far more than our little South African rand. And you know what happened the last World Cup? They came for England. Us South Africans just waited and waited and waited and took the biggest prices we could get. It's crazy. So, yes, I'm expecting bigger prices tomorrow in South Africa, and I will be taking them. Tonight, I have taken the plus on Argentina, and I've backed them on the board a small bit, and I've got that big bet to come if South Africa and Argentina in the final, or should I say if South Africa win, Argentina second. So, yes, it's been quite a good tournament for me. I did go through a couple of bad games, but I'm quite excited. I don't need to get heavily involved. I'll have a bet at halftime depending on what I see. But, yeah, happy. Just the rugby and the cricket. Probably go walking with the wife on Sunday and relax. But, yeah, happy. Good weekend.
You see,
Looking forward to
URC starting this weekend as well, eh? Rugby.
Yeah, one of my mates overseas asked me about the Lions Stormers game and saw the handicap was 5. But obviously the Stormers are well affected compared to the Lions. But at the same time, Lions have shown nothing in this tournament. Shown nothing in Ellis Park against the Stormers recently. So I don't have too much confidence there. I'll watch, but yeah, don't know.
Yeah, I've got a few. I sent out them. By the way, did you get my newsletter? I put you on the list.
I did.
The email.
I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I took an accumulator there. I've got a few URC games, and so looking forward to it. I'm probably going to get more involved than I should this weekend because the World Cup's coming to an end. But yeah, as Kamal says, have a break a leg this weekend, chaps. Oracle, it's been great chatting to you. Thanks to the guys in the live chat. And we'll no doubt chat before the final, which, well, we're hoping is an Argentina-South Africa one. Or at least you are.
That'll be fantastic. Wow, yeah. That'll be beautiful. That'll be beautiful for world rugby. It really will. Anyway, enjoy the weekend, Brent. Thank you.
Enjoy the weekend, Oracle. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.